Hello and welcome to our daily news roundup here on Atlantic TV. I am Nkechi Tejere. Here are our top stories. Tinubu and Sultan hold private talks at Aso Rock. Wike-backed PDP group elects Oyo chairman. Togo seeks to boost electricity imports from Nigeria. US investigates Nigeria, others over labor rights violations. EPL, Man United defeat Villa 3-1 to strengthen top 4 push. Now to the news in full. President Bola Tinubu received the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, at the Presidential Villa Abuja on Sunday in a private meeting. The meeting comes 6 days after the Sultan was absent from the President's interfaith iftar dinner held on March 9th, where he was represented by the Etsu Nupe Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar. The dinner brought together Muslim and Christian leaders, traditional rulers, and political figures from across the country. Photos released by the State House showed the President and the Sultan in cordial discussions, highlighting the ongoing close consultations between the President and the leader of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs on national matters. The purpose of the Sunday audience was not disclosed, but it comes just days before the end of the Ramadan fasting period, following a month of iftar events hosted by President Tinubu with top government and religious leaders. The political support group Renewed Hope Ambassadors, affiliated with President Bola Tinubu, has been directed to distribute rice nationwide to assist citizens observing Ramadan and Lenten fasts. The announcement was made by the Director General of the group and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma in a statement on Saturday, explaining that the exercise aims to promote national unity and compassion during this spiritually significant period for both Muslims and Christians. Uzodinma said the initiative reflects the President's commitment to inclusivity and care for citizens. Ramadan and Lent are seasons of sacrifice, charity, and care. This distribution will help families across Nigeria experience a spirit of togetherness, he said. The rice will be distributed through the group's nationwide grassroots network, covering both Christian and Muslim communities, continuing a tradition similar to last Christmas when rice was distributed to support Nigerians during the festive season. The Isom Wike-backed faction of the People's Democratic Party has elected Abdul Rahman Akinoso as its new chairman in Oyo State. Akinoso, a lecturer in the Department of Food Technology at the University of Ibadan, was chosen during the party's state congress held at Obafemi Awolowo Stadium, Okeado, Ibadan, over the weekend. The election saw all executive members emerge through affirmation amid tight security. Other officers elected include Abiola Olaonipekun as secretary, Latifa Latifu as woman leader, and A. Adeleke as youth leader, supported by a committee of party members overseeing the process, with representatives from the Independent National Electoral Commission in attendance. In his inaugural remarks, Akinoso said the party's immediate focus would be preparations for the 2027 general elections. He urged members to set aside internal differences, strengthen unity, and actively participate in the party's e-membership registration to expand its grassroots base across the states. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, in the Federal Capital Territory has declared the suspension of Senator Ireti Kingibe illegal, intensifying tensions within the party's Abuja chapter. The party also sanctioned 3 executives from Wuse Ward, Chairman Kanayo Chukwu, Amanda Pam, and Omale Suleiman, accused of orchestrating the suspension without following proper party procedures. Party leaders said the move violated the party constitution and lacked legitimacy. Speaking in Abuja, Emmanuel Destiny, a member of the ADC National Working Committee, said the national leadership would not tolerate misconduct. He stressed that no official complaint had been filed against Senator Kingibe and that the national wing would take disciplinary action against the ward officials. Other party officials, including Deputy National Auditor Princess Nneka Nebo and FCT Secretary John Hyginus, criticized the breach of the party's constitution and administrative lapses. The meeting held at the party's FCT Secretariat signaled a move by the national leadership to reassert control and enforce discipline within the Abuja chapter. The Republic of Togo has expressed interest in increasing electricity imports from Nigeria to meet rising demand and extend power supply to newly connected customers across the country. The request was made during a meeting between officials of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company and a delegation from Kapagni Energy Electric du Togo, led by its Director General, Debo Kamba Baradao. The Togolese delegation visited to strengthen existing cooperation and explore ways of expanding cross-border electricity trade. According to officials, the Togolese utility, headquartered in Lomé, currently purchases about 75 megawatt-hours of electricity from the Nigerian Power Company, a supply that has helped maintain stable electricity delivery for homes, businesses, and public institutions in the country. Responding to the managing director of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, Jennifer Adigije, reaffirmed the company's readiness to expand electricity exports, noting that stronger commercial arrangements and reliable payment structures would be required to sustain increased power supply between the two countries. Cash held outside Nigeria's banking system fell by about 198 billion naira in January 2026, according to the latest money and credit statistics released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The data shows that currency outside banks declined from about 5.41 trillion naira in December 2025 to 5.21 trillion naira in January, while total currency in circulation remained largely unchanged at about 5.75 trillion naira. Despite the decline, more than 90% of cash in circulation in Nigeria was still held outside the banking system, indicating that a large share of physical money remains outside deficit money banks. Meanwhile, the country's broad money supply dropped by about 1.5 trillion naira during the month to 123.36 trillion naira, largely due to a decline in Nigeria's net foreign assets, even as domestic liquidity in the financial system recorded a slight increase. And with that business news, we'll take a break here. When we return, more news stories on the foreign scene and on sports. Do stay tuned.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back. Over now to the foreign scene. The United States has launched a trade investigation into Nigeria and 59 other countries over allegations of failing to block imports made with forced labor. The probe under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 will examine whether these practices create unfair conditions for American businesses. Products under review include textiles, minerals, agricultural goods, and palm oil derivatives. Public hearings will begin on the 28th of April 2026, and the U.S. may impose trade restrictions or additional duties if violations are confirmed. The investigation comes as Nigeria's fourth quarter of 2025 trade data showed its merchandise surplus fell sharply to 1.71 trillion naira, down from 3.42 trillion naira a year earlier, due to lower crude oil exports and rising imports. Nigeria remains heavily dependent on foreign goods, mainly from Asia and Europe, highlighting challenges in its trade balance and global scrutiny. UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon came under fire on Sunday likely from non-state armed groups, as the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah escalates. Meanwhile, a Hamas source reported that Israeli strikes killed the group's official, Wissam Taha. The violence comes 2 weeks into the latest war, which began on the 2nd of March after Hezbollah launched attacks on Israel in response to the killing of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in U.S.-Israeli strikes. Israel has carried out air raids and troop incursions along the border, while Hezbollah has launched missiles at sites inside Israel. Lebanese authorities report at least 850 deaths and over 830,000 people displaced, with many sheltering in collective facilities or sleeping in makeshift tents amid heavy rain and cold weather. In Sidon, an Israeli strike on a residential building killed one person and caused widespread damage. Diplomatic efforts remained stalled. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has proposed direct talks with Israel, but Israeli officials have refused, calling instead for the cancellation of a 2022 U.S. brokered maritime border deal. French President Emmanuel Macron has offered to host negotiations, though no agreements on timing or location have been made. Now to sports news. FIFA has sanctioned both the Nigerian Football Federation and the DR Congo Football Federation over disciplinary incidents during the 2026 World Cup African Playoff Final, reports say. The match, played on November 16, 2025 in Morocco, saw DR Congo defeat Nigeria 4-3 on penalties to advance to the Intercontinental Playoffs. FIFA found both federations guilty of separate infractions. Nigeria was fined 1,000 Swiss francs for spectator misconduct involving the throwing of objects, while DR Congo was fined 5,000 Swiss francs for the use of laser pointers by fans. The sanctions come amid ongoing controversy as Nigeria lodged a formal protest against DR Congo for allegedly fielding ineligible foreign-born players during the match. The Nigerian complaint lists several overseas-born players who featured for DR Congo, claiming nationality switches were approved only days before the fixture. Meanwhile, DR Congo are preparing for their next World Cup playoff match against the winner of the semi-final between New Caledonia and Jamaica on the 31st of March. The Congolese team has dropped two of the disputed players, Mikel Ange Balakwisha and Maria Stroh-Enkins, from their 26-man squad. Manchester United boosted their Champions League hopes with a 3-1 win over Aston Villa at Old Trafford on Sunday. Casemiro opened the scoring for United in the second half before Ross Barkley equalized for Villa. United finished strongly with Matheus Cunha and substitute Benjamin Sesko scoring in the closing stages, handing interim manager Michael Carrick his 7th win in 9 games. The victory keeps United in 3rd place in the Premier League, 3 points ahead of 4th-placed Villa, as both sides fight for a top 4 finish. Bruno Fernandes set up Cunha's goal with his 16th league assist of the season, surpassing David Beckham's club record. Elsewhere in the league, Nottingham Forest climbed out of the relegation zone after a goalless draw with Fulham, while 10-man Leeds held Crystal Palace to a goalless draw despite a missed penalty and a controversial red card. Later on Sunday, Tottenham faced Liverpool, with the struggling North London club still in danger of relegation. And with that, sports news, we come to the end of our daily news roundup for today here on Atlantic TV. Do also follow us on all our social media platforms for more news stories and headline updates. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nkechi Tejere. Have a good day.